In this video, we'll be solving 2026 AP Physics 1 free response question 2, and this is for version J. Two small disks R and S are on a straight horizontal track. At time t equals 0, disk R of mass m0 is located at position x equals 0. Disk R is initially moving with speed v0 in the positive x direction. Disk S of mass 3m0 is initially at rest. As shown in the top view in figure 1, frictional forces are negligible. At t equals t1, the disks collide. Immediately after the collision, disk R moves with a speed of v0 over 2 in the negative x direction. Part A, the momentum vector diagram in figure 2 represents the momentums of disk R and disk S before the collision. Draw arrows on figure 3 to represent the momentum vectors of disk R and disk S after the collision. Each arrow must start on and point away from each dot. If the momentum of either disk is 0, write p equals 0 next to the dot. Draw the length of each arrow to represent the magnitude of each momentum consistent with the scale used in figure 2. So this is a typical momentum collision problem, and so we're going to start with pi is equal to pf. Initially, only disk R is moving. It has a momentum of m0 v0. After the collision, both disk R and disk S are moving. For disk R, it has a momentum of m0 times negative 1 over 2 v0. For disk S, it has a momentum of 3 m0 vs prime. Vs prime is going to be the velocity of disk S after the collision. After combining some like terms, I get 3 over 2 times m0 v0 is equal to 3 m0 vs prime. You'll notice that the 3's cancel out and the m0's cancel out, and that leaves us with vs prime is equal to v0 over 2. And we're also told in the problem that Vr prime, the velocity of disk R after the collision, is negative V0 over 2. So using that information, we can now draw our arrows on this momentum diagram. So remember, they're asking you to draw the vector for the momentum, not for velocity. So we need to take the velocity that we found times the mass of disk R and disk S. So for disk R, we get negative m0 v0 over 2. And because it's negative, the arrow is going to point towards the left in the negative direction. And the reason we're drawing a length of 2 amounts is because if you go back up here, this disk R initially was moving to the right with a magnitude of m0 v, and now it's half m0 v, so the length should be half of what it was before. For disk S, it has a momentum of positive 3 m0 v0 over 2. Because it has a positive momentum, the arrow is pointing towards the right. Notice that it has 3 times the momentum of disk R, and so it's going to have a length that should be 3 times. Disk R has a length of 2, and so disk S should have a length of 6. Part B. Starting with conservation of linear momentum, derive an expression for the kinetic energy of disk S immediately after the collision. Express your final answer in terms of m0, v0, and physical constants as appropriate. Begin your derivation by writing the fundamental physics principle or an equation from the reference information. I'll be using the kinetic energy equation, which is Ke is equal to 1 over 2 mv squared, and the mass of disk S is 3 m0. The velocity of disk S after the collision is v0 over 2, so substituting that into my equation, I get 3 over 8 times m0 times v0 squared. Part C. The graph shown in figure 4 represents the positions x as functions of time t from t equals 0 until t equals t1 for each of the following: disk R, disk S, the center of mass of the 2-disk system. On the graph shown in figure 4, draw 3 lines that represent the positions x of disk R, disk S, and the center of mass of the two-disk system as functions of t from t equals t1 to t2 t1, distinctly label each line. We're going to start with the center of mass of the two-disk system line. I think that's the easiest because there is no external net force. That line will continue to be a straight line because that line is representing the velocity of the center of mass. And if there's no external net force, then the velocity of the center of mass will stay constant. So we should have a straight line. Then for disk S, it's going to have a slope of v naught over 2. So if disk R had an initial velocity of v naught and it has this slope, which looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 over 2 boxes, so 4 over 2 is 2, it's a slope of 2 here, then disk S, which has half the velocity of v naught, should have a slope of 1. So I'm going up 2 and I'm going right 2, so 2 over 2 is 1, so this is a slope of 1. Disk R after the collision has a velocity of negative v naught over 2. So it has the same magnitude as the final velocity of disk S, except it's in the negative direction. So we're going to have a negative slope. Next, we're going to take a look at part D. Part D, during the collision, the magnitudes of the changes in momentum of disk R and disk S are absolute value of delta PR and absolute value of delta PS, respectively. Indicate whether the absolute value of delta PR is greater than, less than, or equal to the absolute value of delta PS by writing one of the following. So we're going to select delta PR. Absolute value is equal to the absolute value of delta PS. And we can use Newton's third law to justify our answer. Newton's third law states that for every action force, there's an equal and opposite reaction force. And disk S exerts the same force as disk R, but in the opposite direction over the same amount of time. And the impulse momentum theorem states that F delta T equals delta P. And so we know from what we just said that negative FR times delta T is equal to Fs times delta T. And so therefore, because of the impulse momentum theorem, we know that the magnitude of delta PR is equal to the magnitude of delta PS.